Hi guys, welcome or welcome back. It is Libby here. It's been a while since I've done a regular sit down video or anything. It is July 7th. Definitely been a while. I'm gonna do an update video. School and anything I can think of. This is my second time doing this. The last time it was 30 minutes long, so let's hope it's a lot shorter than that. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and like, and as always, don't forget to hit that notification bell. I'm gonna talk a lot for sure, so I highly suggest you grab a drink, a snack, or get to that chore you've been kind of avoiding. Just so you guys know, I was drinking a Starbucks cup. I'm almost done. It was a white mocha, and I added some hazelnut syrup. So we're gonna be doing a not so uniformed or organized school update and life update. For school, I know I kept you guys updated into like the 3rd, 6th week. I don't remember. But let me just say, I know that the spring of 2023 was a really bad semester for me, but that was more health-wise, mental health-wise, and not so much the school material or professors aspect of it. And I will still, I can't say which one's worse, but this past spring 2025 university semester has been one of the most difficult ones I've had experience when it came to advocating and connecting with professors. And yeah, so let me try to go through this really quickly. So I'm not going to go into much detail. I'll link the videos that I did record this past spring so you guys can hear more in detail of what happened. But I will say this, the first 8 weeks, I barely was able to keep up with my school assignments because I was constantly advocating to be able to access those assignments. One class, they had a textbook that they read every 2 weeks, so that led up to 4 textbooks that had to be read that semester. None of them were accessible. Half of the other assignments weren't accessible, and I was going back and forth between the professor and OSD, which is the Student with Disabilities Department. I don't know what the Office of Students with Disabilities, I believe it's called. And I honestly gave up with OSD almost within the first 4 or 5 weeks because they wanted me to meet with them first before they even touched the professor aspect of my situation, or the materials. 2 out of 4 of my professors were telling me it was my problem and the OSD's problem, that it was not their job, which it kind of is their job. And they kept telling me, one of them kept telling me, well, my other students can do it, you can too. And I'm like, your other students don't need the materials accessible for them. They can just go in there and voila, access them. I will say that 2 of the professors were very standoffish. They weren't very supportive. They were very like, not my job, you're not my problem, you know. And it was really hard to experience that for the first time. I have had professors that have been very blah about it, but at least they connect with the Students with Disabilities Department and not necessarily try, but at least acknowledge that they're aware that they need to be doing certain things and certain things need to be accessible. And then the other 2, one of them rarely replied to my emails, and she was the strictly online professor. And then the other one was fantastic, but with me trying to figure out everything else, it was really hard to keep up with my schoolwork. My Wednesday professor, when she realized I was there, with Wednesday we met, by Friday she emailed me saying she tried to get as much things switched to accessible formats, and if she couldn't, she found audio formats, which, like I said, was great. But there were certain things that could not be accessible, even though I could see them, I could read them, I could hear them. It was just the way that certain books were formatted, because they were very artistic. It was a poem volume, and there was a lot of dashes, a lot of empty spaces, a lot of empty lines, and voiceover didn't really know how to handle that. So that kind of was another situation with that particular class. Let's just say that it took me about 8 weeks to even get semi-settled, but like I said, this was the worst semester I've had in a while. So around week 5, my technology came out, my adapted technology. I have a Braille notebook, Braille Apex, Braille Note Apex, which is my version of paper and pen. And I didn't realize how much I leaned on this to take notes, to do my rough drafts. I'm able to type on it and read it with my fingers. I'm able to listen to it, or listen and read it with my fingers. And then I would dictate it or type it into a Google Docs and then send me my work. But having notes in my Apex was very essential to my education, and I didn't realize that until I didn't have it. And I've been asking for new technology since 2023 from my DOR counselor, which is a separate department that I've been with since my senior year of high school. And for some reason, my counselor ignored every time I sent her an email, and I always ended up, every email, even if it had nothing to do with anything I needed, it was just a random update because that's what she wanted, that's what she told me she needed, I would always say, hey, can we talk about how I can request new technology, or let's start the conversation about new technology. Never acknowledged it. So it was crazy, and I finally reached out to one of her coworkers, and they're like, okay, submit all of this and we'll make out, when you do, just checking in to see how the progress is going. I'm like, okay. So that was 2 months ago. Still haven't heard from them. So we will see. Hopefully we do get some new technology by the beginning or middle of August. But yeah, so that was around week 5. And finally, I was like, I've been trying to get this stuff done. I'm so behind on assignments. And one of the professors finally scheduled me in for an appointment. And we had a long conversation. And she's like, I've been reaching out to you, which lies. I looked at my emails, both of them, personal and school emails, and didn't have anything from her. So I don't know who she was emailing. And she finally told me that she had the OSD office make the textbooks accessible. She's the professor that had a textbook for every 2 weeks. And she realized that she hadn't been doing her part, and she did apologize, which I really appreciate. And in order for me to be successful, she's like, let's make this a self-study. And she gave me the option. She's like, I don't want to take the option for you from coming to class. And I was like, no, you're right at this point. But at this point, my Apex was no longer even turning on because like around week 5, if it wasn't on the charger, it wasn't turning on. So when it was on the charger, it was. But like by week, I would say 10. I would say week 10 of the school semester, it was not even turning on the adapter anymore. So even though she made it accessible, and we kind of like took out the little busy assignments and just kept the major ones and the important ones, I still wasn't able to be as successful as I wish. I honestly don't think I passed any of my classes. I haven't been brave enough to look at that. Besides that, there was a recurring theme happening in all my classes, which we had to talk about our upbringing, our tradition, family traditions, our culture, our memories of certain situations, connect with literature, parent engagement and involvement with our schooling and education. And let me tell you guys, it brought a lot of memories from me growing up. And I realized mine was all negative or non-existent. And I was sick and tired of being that person that was like always saying something negative or something, oh, I didn't experience that, or my parent didn't go to my school at all. In elementary, they didn't even know who my mom was. They thought my aunt was my mom. So it was just this really big thing for me to really relive and really face, to realize that my disability and certain other situations took away a lot from me growing up. So emotionally and mentally, I was being destroyed by certain topics and certain assignments, on top of having very rude and quite frankly mean professors, and then with my technology giving up. And the transportation has been something I struggled both semesters, but this semester it was really bad because it was in the evenings, and I'm very blessed to say that my sister was able to pick me up when I would go to campus. But getting to campus, I would either be on access over 3 hours, or I would get to campus extremely early and have to sit in one spot, or because I'm not very adventurous to explore, I started, experiencing scary thoughts. I'm like, oh my god, I'm here in this in the classroom by myself. How about there's an earthquake, or there's an incident that is happening and I don't know? Excuse me. All these bad scenarios started happening in my head and wasn't helping me. Now I'm able to sit here and talk to you guys and tell you guys, and I feel ridiculous. I'm like, I overreacted. This always happens to me, you guys. But in the moment, I can never really talk about it because I get very anxious, and I feel like if I see comments or I get messages sent to me during those moments I'm struggling, that's not going to help me. So that's why I always wait a little bit to share my experiences. But when I do, I start feeling ridiculous because I'm like, I'm telling you guys and I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, damn, why did I struggle so much? Why did I let it get to me so much? Why did I blow it out of proportion? But that's what I experienced, you guys. That was my spring semester. I was constantly emailing somebody, constantly trying to get in contact with somebody, trying to get as many of the assignments that I could access done, but it still was a mess. As for my personal life, my sleeping schedule has been horrible the past 3 months. I think I've had in total 2 weeks scattered throughout these 3 months where I've had good night's sleeps, good schedules, but I don't know if it's because the stress and not being able to stop thinking about certain things that really ruin my sleeping schedule. Also, grandma is officially here. She got here in mid-May. She got here May 14th. And it was so great. It's so great to hear her around. But it also brought up the problem of having to be with my extended family. For those that don't know, I did stop reaching out to them. I stopped going to visit them because of their behavior toward me and Ethos. I started feeling unwelcome. I started feeling unwanted. I started feeling like I was a bother. So instead of letting that happen, I just walked away, and sadly they never reached out to me. And seeing them around when we're going with grandma or something, it's really hard, because I'm like, you can sense it, you know. You can sense when they're annoyed or they're bothered or stuff like that. My grandma doesn't like dogs, but she's been very respectful of Ethos. She knows that he's here for me, and I love her so very much, because I told her, I'm like, I'm so sorry, I know you don't like him. She's like, no, it's okay. He doesn't bother me. He's very gentle. But when other people are around, they're like, oh, tell him to be careful. And I'm like, he's not going to hurt her. He's not going to do anything but greet her very gently, you know? So anyways, that's also been weighing on my mind and making me realize how much it really hurts that they're not around anymore. When once upon a time they used to be my sanctuary, you know? But anyways, with all of that said, I hope I can finally get into vlogging again, because I do really miss it. I just haven't had the energy, the mental strength to do anything like that. I haven't been out when I don't have to go out, and I just sit there and listen to grandma and my mom talk and enjoy hearing them laugh, you know? It still makes me sad, but I just have to be grateful for everything that I have right now. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope everyone's doing great. I hope everyone is having a wonderful summer so far, and we will see you guys in the next one.